everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some tips about how to get through a no-spend year. Tip number one is know that it's going to be hard at first. I started this challenge after I'd been simplifying my life for about 2.5 years, and I'd already been working on changing my relationship with material things, reducing my possessions, and adjusting my mindset. But just know that wherever you are in your journey, now is the perfect time to start. Regardless of where you are, it's going to be hard for everyone in different ways at the beginning because you're working on changing your habits that you've developed and learned over your entire lifetime. But just believe that you can do it and you will see change. Tip number two is to figure out why you're doing this challenge. Either just think about it or maybe write it down somewhere so you can look at it later and remind yourself throughout the year why you're doing this challenge. For me, one of the main things that I wanted to get out of this challenge was to adjust my spending habits. And like I said before, I'd already been working towards simplifying my life for the past 2.5 years before I started the challenge, but I found from time to time I still had this desire to go shopping for clothes or just random things, and I wanted to be able to take this time to evaluate why I had these desires to go shopping and just to buy things that I didn't need. So what I really wanted to get out of this was to learn more about myself, but also change my mindset in a way that I could incorporate this no spend challenge in a year into the rest of my life. The second big why for me was for ethical, social, and environmental reasons. A lot of time, energy, and resources goes into producing these things, and we live in a society where we want to possess more and more things for a lot cheaper at the expense of people and the environment. I also didn't want to give my money to companies that didn't respect their workers or respect the environment and the resources, or just do things ethically in general. I could probably go on about this topic for a while, but instead I will link down below some resources if you're interested. One of the documentaries that I highly recommend is on Netflix, and it's called The True Cost, and it really talks about the kind of things that go on when it comes to producing things like fast fashion. So I'll link that down below if you want to learn more, and that was one of the main driving forces of why I wanted to start this challenge. Tip number three, I think, is the most helpful tip, and that is to keep a wish list. So I kept a wish list on my phone, and like I said before, it's going to be hard at first, and I definitely felt that temptation and desire to purchase things, especially in the first couple months. But if I really wanted something, I would add it to this wish list, and I told myself if it was still there at the end of the year, then I could buy it. And you can choose to do this wish list however you would like, but what I did was categorize it into different categories. And so there was like outdoor gear, of course, and then maybe like kitchen stuff, clothes, gadgets, things like that, etc. Of course, you can tailor this to the things that you like to buy. And then within those categories, I would rearrange the items in order of importance or how much I wanted them. And I found this really helpful, and I think you learn a lot about yourself because every couple weeks or every couple months, I would actually go through my wish list and just begin to delete stuff that I didn't really want. And I think that's a super important thing and really created an impact for me, because if you imagine that you bought everything on your wish list and then the things that I ticked off that I didn't want anymore, those would be things that I wasted money on if I did buy them, and they would just be sitting somewhere unused. So I think a wish list is key, and it also just helps you get through a year just because you know that there's an end goal, and at the end of the year, if it's still on your list, you probably really want it, and you will feel a little bit better about purchasing something knowing that you waited all year long. Keeping a wish list is super helpful, and it's something that I still use now even though I'm done with the challenge. Tip number four is kind of obvious but sometimes hard to implement sometimes, and that is to not surround yourself in environments or around people that encourage buying things. So don't go to the mall, just don't go to any store really unless it's like something that you need, like a grocery store or a hardware store, and don't hang out with people and do things like go shopping because what else are you gonna do? You're gonna buy something. And so just try to come up with any other activity besides shopping. Go for a hike, go for a walk, take a painting class, just do anything else besides putting yourself in a situation where you feel tempted to buy something. Tip number five is to find a way to keep yourself accountable. So for me, I posted on social media and I started making videos about it on YouTube, and it's so cool that you guys have been watching it and are interested. I never thought I would get this many views or this much interest in my little challenge. And my friends were all very supportive about it when they saw I posted about it on social media, and they knew that I didn't want any gifts or anything, so they were all very supportive of that. The main thing is just to find a way to keep yourself accountable, whether, you know, it's writing it down in a journal or doing it with someone else. The biggest thing that got me through it as well, besides the whys that I mentioned earlier, was I didn't want to let myself down, and I didn't want to let you guys down. Because I knew you guys were watching, and I wanted to get through the whole experience just so that I could share this video with you and help you get through it if it's something that you want to get started on. So tip number 6 is to see this challenge as an opportunity and not a limit. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and I was telling him how I don't like to limit myself on things, and he was like, well, you know, isn't you not being able to buy anything for a year kind of setting a limitation for yourself? And it was just funny to me because I didn't really ever see the challenge as a limit. It was more an opportunity for me to kind of grow, but then also to problem solve and figure out ways around how to do something without just defaulting going to buying something at the store. And I don't know, I feel like I learned a lot, and I tried a lot of things that I never would have. And it was an opportunity for me to seek out other activities besides shopping. It was an opportunity for me to figure out where I want to spend my time and money, and also to save money. And I was able to try a bunch of things that I never would have tried, like renting like dresses online for like special occasions. I started a library card, and just all of these things that I tried that I probably never would have if I just said, oh, I can just order it online on Amazon or just go to Target or something and just get it. Tip number 7 is to be hard on yourself. Whenever you feel tempted to buy something, go back to your why, go back to keeping yourself accountable, and don't make excuses for purchasing something. And just remember why you're doing this, and remember that that's more important than buying something. And the final tip is contradicting my previous tip, and that is to be easy on yourself. I went into this challenge that I was not going to be perfect, and I probably was going to buy something that I didn't need, and I do talk about that in my blog posts, and I will link those two actually down below. So I did buy stuff throughout the year. I was not perfect. I will admit that and tell you that. We're all human. And I think the most important thing is to know that even if you do buy something or you do slip up, it's not over. The challenge is not over. You can just take that as it is and then just move on, and then continue to try to finish out the challenge, finish out the year to the best of your ability. And so don't let just buying one thing ruin your streak and determine that you're a failure. One of my favorite quotes is, failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of success. And I think that, you know, you'll get to learn a lot of it, and just remember again why you're doing this challenge. And going into this challenge, I wanted to be able to establish different mindsets and habits that I could implement into the rest of my life, so that this challenge is not just a year, but it's a more sustainable form for my lifetime. So those are my main tips that I have for you. Just want to say thank you guys so much, especially for those of you that watched my video a year ago when I first started. It was so cool reading your comments and just hearing about how a lot of you guys started doing this challenge either for a month, 6 months, year, 2 years, even longer. And so if you have any other tips for other people that are doing this, just leave them down below, and I love to read your comments. And otherwise, again, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!